myself, Buddy Folks, holding it strong for Sharice Nicole today. And in true I radio fashion, we always give reverence and pay respect to our elders, our ancestors, the youth, to each other, because we're all one unit. And for many of those who are in the know, I'm sure you heard of the recent transition of Afeni Shakur, the mother of Tupac. So that was I Radio's small tribute to the life. I mean, you know, there ain't enough time to do everything that this sister accomplished, but you know, that was our tribute to Afeni Shakur. And of course, throughout the day, you'll get many different tributes from I Radio, from WRFG. If you listen from 6 to 7:30 to What Good Is a Song, Friday Night Drum this evening, you will get a little more in-depth info on yourself, as well as the life of Afeni Shakur, and many more revolutionaries on What Good Is a Song, the Friday Night Drum. But today, here in this studio, it's all about higher learning, education, edutainment, which is what we do anyway. But in the studio with me, I have two people who are from two, I would say maybe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, two separate organizations, but you know, there really is no separation when it comes to the work that needs to be done. So first and foremost, I'd like to introduce to the WRFG community David Peppers, who is the, let me get it right, who is the president of Christian Capitalists LLC, and also Melisa, who is with the organization Parent Education Group. They are both here in the WRFG studios and the I Radio studios to share with us a little bit of their form of education, or at least their angle, and the reason why we are here today, and the information that's needed. I mean, you know, it's a new time. It's spring. Everything is blooming and blossoming. Everything is growing right now. Everything just on its own, and that's the beauty of nature. So I guess speaking of growing in nature and everything, I'm going to start with you, David. You are actually, your organization is, actually you are, looks like you have a lot going on here. You have an idea of turning Turner Field into a modern hanging garden, and many know that the Braves are exiting this year. This is their final year.
That's correct.
And also the future of aquaponics. Aquaponics is the future of farming. I'm very familiar with aquaponics, and it definitely is something that is easy for those living in the city. I mean, for those who have no lawn at all, who just have a condo, this is something that you can do and still grow your own food. And we can also, we're going to discuss how to make education better. So without further ado, would you introduce yourself to the community?
Good morning, everybody. My name is David Peppers. I'm the president of Christian Capitalists LLC, and it is an organization that is trying to change the world and make it a better place for everybody. And I'd just like to start off by touching on the importance of aquaponics and how it is the future of farming. And when we look out over the landscape that is our world today, water is becoming a much more dire resource. And when you look at what's going on in California and Montana and climate change, the beauty about aquaponics is that it is a completely recyclable system. That the water, there's no runoff, it's completely flexible, it's scalable, and it allows people to be able to make profit for themselves. It also allows people to have food security and to know exactly where their food is coming from. It is, it's just, we have to change the way that we're doing things in our society, because in a nutshell, you know, times are getting rough for everybody, and you know, a lot of people are out of work, and we're all relying on external sources to keep our communities going. And the one thing that is most crucial for our society to thrive is the health of our communities. And with all of the pesticides and GMO products and all things like that, it's just important that we know where our food's coming from, because it's just my belief that one day in the future there's not going to be any food at Kroger. Maybe not forever, but for, you know, if it dries up for 3 or 4 weeks, what are we going to do? Most people, you know, are paycheck to paycheck, and you know, their pantries are bare as it is. And with just some community gardening, with aquaponics systems that are set up in your own backyard, you're able to really take control of your health, your well-being, and your community as well.
Now, explain to those who may not be familiar with the term aquaponics. What exactly is aquaponics, and how is it different than hydroponics?
Well, hydroponics is where the plants actually grow in just water. And aquaponics is a combination of a protein source, which is fish, and the grow material. And so what happens is that the fish act as the fertilizer, and so their waste product is converted into fertilizer, and then the plants will remove the ammonia from the water, which allows the water that the fish live in to be purified. So it is a holistic, closed system that not only allows you to grow plants, but also a protein source. And we're doing some experiments right now. We're trying to get freshwater shellfish and mussels and clams to grow so that it wouldn't just be fish. And it's a beautiful system, and it, in a way, it reproduces the I'm from Florida, and it reproduces the ebb and flow of the Everglades. And so the fish are very happy. It does take a little bit of finesse to get the system equalized, but once you do that, it's a hands-off system. It is the future of farming, because the most important thing that I would like everybody to be aware of is that in aquaponics there is no runoff. So the water,
It's just circulating there, so you keep the same water basically.
exactly. And it's also, if you didn't want to grow organic crops, you could remove the fish entirely from the system and use a fertilizer. But the beautiful thing about that is that the fertilizer never runs into our streams and oceans. It stays in the container and it's reused. The water can be tested regularly, and when the fertilizer is withdrawn from the water by the plants, you can just add a little bit more. So it can be used organically and non-organically.
That's interesting. I've never looked at it from the non-organic side, because you know, in my mind, I'm like, who would want to put pesticides in their body? But you know, we do know that I say ignorance is a liability, but to many, ignorance really is bliss. Many just don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know. You know, I feel something is needed, and I feel that there's a change coming, or I feel that this is happening, but I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know. And my sister,
Yes, my brother.
you are here as well as you, my brother David. You are here as well, doing the same thing with me. You are here doing just about, you know, what I was just describing. I mean, I don't want to know about, you know, what's going on now, and in many different aspects. You know, we can come from different angles when it comes to the idea of voting and information on it. But you know, there's a difference in voting, in my opinion, and my explanation by that is, right now there is mayhem and craziness going on in this three-ring circus of people running for their nominations to be the next president. So when one's here voting, a lot of times that's automatically what your mind goes to: president,
Yeah, to the
governor,
president.
mayor. The large elections. But
Mhm.
a lot of times we miss these little small elections, and these little small elections are the ones that really matter. So while you're blaming whoever's in office up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, no, it's live and direct right in your neighborhood around the corner. So explain to the community why it is important to know what's going on where you live.
Well, for certain reasons, to make sure that you are putting individuals in office that are actually speaking for you. You want to make sure that your voice is being heard without and throughout your communities. So a lot of people do not go out and vote, and you absolutely right. A lot of people go out and vote just for big elections, presidents, and no one is looking at the senators who also makes decisions, which is Congress. No one is looking at the judges who also make decisions about how much time you may have to do or serve when you are in front of one. No one is looking at district attorneys. So no one is actually looking at it. And with my organization, we try to get that information out to parents and say, hey, you can't complain if you don't do anything. So if you want your voice to be heard, you have to stand up and you have to make sure that they hear you. So this is the information that we try to get out to parents. This is why it's so important this year, definitely. We have so many different things coming up in education, which is the splash, which is the 1 penny that everyone go out and vote for, and it's used for education to improve the schools, to give us buildings, books, technology, and things of that nature to further educate our children. But a lot of people don't know anything about it. They just go in, they don't know to vote. The ballot is so long, but they don't really know. And then also the Opportunity School District, which is a law that passed this year under Governor Nathan Deal to improve failing schools. So I'm not trying to tell anyone how to vote, but I would like you to make sure that you read the ballots when you go to the polling May the 24th, and make sure that you understand what it is you're voting for, because a lot of people don't understand what they're voting for. And also, we work very closely with David with this, and this is an opportunity for STEM. This is STEM. So Splash would definitely help innovate our kids with this. The kids are very excited about growing food and being able to sustain themselves over the coming years. So
Now, if you can explain Splash to the community, because many may it may be just a fear or a misunderstanding or ignorance to certain terms and what legislations are being passed, so they just saw that. Don't that sound like something else? I don't know what that even means. But then also the STEM. I do recognize STEM as being science, technology, engineering, and math, which is something that is very important right now in these times, because using the mind on that level is being challenged right now in mainstream society. It's almost like it's cool again, like you say, to just be ignorant to certain things and just not know. It's okay, it's all good, but it's not all good to not know. That's how you get someone to continuously feed you information, food, physically, spiritually, mentally, that they want to feed you, and now you become a mini one of them.
that's true.
But not today.
That's true.
Today
Not
we
today.
busting that out. We breaking out higher learning, higher science on
That's right.
INI Radio.
That's
and,
right.
And I want to thank Sharice Nicole for getting these interviews together and setting this up, because I'm usually when I fill in her shoes, which are some very strong shoes, I just play a little music, may have some information, but today this is a very, very wonderful conversation. So I'd like to give thanks and shout out Sharice Nicole for making this possible.
Well, thank you for having us.
And thank you for
Yes,
having
yes.
both of us here.
Yes, we thank y'all. So now before you get splashed, now I've seen this term on signs when you drive by, and there really is no education on it. Could you give those who may not know exactly?
It is a 1%. It's like a tax. It's a 1 penny tax, and it is geared towards education. It's for schools. It's a tax split between Fulton County, Atlanta, DeKalb, and Decatur. So the money that we receive from all of those particular counties, that 1 penny actually is divided amongst those particular counties, and it is divided for educational purposes. It's a totally different tax from the transportation tax. I think that's probably where the community get confused at. Okay, is this a transportation tax or is it for education? Splash is for education. That's what it's for. It's for to improve in schools, to better educate our students, also to improve STEM, which is one of the things that we desperately need. That is the funding that we could use to actually bring that into the schools to help motivate our kids.
So they could learn aquaponics,
and they can definitely learn that.
Honestly, I really, I'm, in my just breaking through the door of 40. When I was young, especially elementary school, I remember having a horticulture class and always thinking, man, I can't wait till I'm old enough to get in a horticulture class. It just seemed cool to grow plants and be with that. But by the time I got old enough to do it, it was gone. That was one of the first things to kind of start to dwindle away from public education. And the more you take away of that vibration, then again, the more you get, robots and people who are doing what they're told instead of being their natural selves. David, anything you like to say?
Well, sure. I, as far as education goes, I've always believed that the purpose of public education is to end poverty, and it's not to prepare poor kids for prison. And the way that we've removed art, we've removed civics, we've removed so many things out of our public education system, and we're turning our children into mindless robots that have to sit still for 8 hours and not ask questions and not dream and not hope for anything better than what they see right in front of them. And the whole thing about improving science and technology is so that we can all become profit centers for ourselves as opposed to making profit for our corporate overlords, which want nothing from us other than our obedience. And in closing, I just wanted to throw this idea out for the community, and that Turner Field is, they're discussing what they want to do with it once the Braves leave. And if you can imagine in your mind where if we could remove all of the seats from the stadium and put aquaponic units in those different levels and turn the field with the Georgia Aquarium into a large fish farm and use the water from there to circulate among the aquaponic units that would be up in the stands, then you would be able to see that from 20 and 85, and perhaps we could even change it into where the parking lots have all become open green spaces with picnic tables, and perhaps GSU could have the foremost aquaponic or urban gardening degree in the Southeast, and provide free food for the community once a week, once a month, where all of Atlanta could come together and sit down and share a meal together. And so we could get to know our brothers and sisters, because we have to, as a community, take responsibility for ourselves and ensure that we are all well and not just the 1%.
Yes, indeed. I love it. Well, again, see what I'm saying? This is a great thing. I definitely enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure the community have as well. Now, will you, either one of you, well, pardon me, both of you, have any information that you'd like to share with the community to contact you further on aquaponics, David, and also
education?
Who'd like to get educated more?
Well, for me, for the Parent Education Group, we will be at the Atlanta Metropolitan Library on May the 17th from 10 to 11. If you want to learn information on Splash and Opportunity School District, we'll have the information available for you, and it'll be from 10 to 11, and just come out and find out what you need to know and get educated.
Amen.
How you learning?
How you learning?
If anybody's interested in learning a little bit more about aquaponics, they could go to my YouTube channel, which is under David Peppers. It's also linked on my Facebook page, which is Christian Capitalist. And you can also go to my website, which is christiancapitalist.solutions.
Okay. All right. Well, give thanks again, and I wish you wonderful blessings on this beautiful day in your tribe, whatever it is. Make sure you arrive there safely and continue to educate. You know, this is something that, you know, we can, in our passing with those on the street, we can just strike up conversation about things like this, and not, did you see Empire last night?
Well, it's a good show.
And I just wanted to wish everybody the
Not
best.
just anything out particularly.
I'm sorry, buddy. I just wanted to wish everybody the best, and to you and yours, and may we all find some peace and happiness in our lifetimes.
And I just want to say one last thing. From the Parent Education Group, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Indeed.
And have a great time. It's going to be warm. So grab your families and just get out there and have a good time, ladies.
Good time. And as you can tell, INR Radio, you know, gave our tribute to mothers as well early as, I mean, all the way to the motherland.
That's
From
right.
mama to mama.
To mama to mama.
Amen.
Right.
There
Well,
it is.
since we've been doing it like that, let's continue to
Sure.
sow these seeds. Let's see if we can sow some more seeds
All right.
and more seeds. This is WRFG Atlanta, your station for progressive information.
All right. Okay. And I got twinkle twinkle. Did you get it? Was you able to get it off?